Hello everyone, it's Terrell here from Terrell Game Vlogs. I'm actually walking away from my house right now because I know how this usually goes. Usually when I try to record a video outside in my yard, my mother has a bad tendency of trying to be a dick about things. So I'm trying to get away from the house. That way she doesn't flip her shit looking for me. Now I want to do kind of a casual video talking about a subject here just for a little bit, and it's the concept of lying. It's kind of a weird style discussion where I'm doing like in vlogging style. So for me, I always find this concept kind of ridiculous because as children and in television shows, we're always taught, not to lie to people, right? We're taught not to exaggerate the truth or stretch the truth through our narrative. Because if we do that, it's not like the morally just thing to do. Even though the irony is that in real life, you have to do that shit a lot. You have to, and well, I guess I shouldn't say you have to, but it's almost highly encouraged depending on your social situation. And even small lies are able to get you ahead. And that's weird because the one rule we don't ever seem to mention and talk about is that life is fucking unfair. We don't teach our kids the reality that life has a tendency of cheating you all the goddamn time. And because of that, that's why lying indirectly is encouraged. Now the idea would be is that if everybody lived a virtuous life, that wouldn't happen. But the problem is that corruption happens on both sides of the spectrum. The rich are corrupted because they want to maintain their position, and the poor are corrupted because they want to get to where the rich are at. So the struggle then becomes, why am I not cheating the system when the rich are cheating the system? And in some cases, that's how they got to be rich in the first place. It always tripped me out though, because that's like the one moral. It's also one of the things that you can do that's considered wrong that you can't get arrested for, not directly. It usually is like the consequence of something else. Like, you lied, therefore you're guilty, and your trustworthiness is what gets you in trouble. Which is also kind of funny because just looking at the YouTube landscape, people on YouTube get bust out for lying. And it turns into these huge drama spectacles and shit. Even though the reason why they're in the position they're in to begin with is through their lying and manipulating and shit. And some people still do it. Some people who are on top now and who are highly respected did the same shit. The difference is it was either on a smaller scale or they hid it better than their contemporaries. So the situation then turns into, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do when the system is still broken? It's not like the system is fixed for the sake of, I don't want to walk around the neighborhood like I usually do. But it's not like the system is fixed just because I just lied less than everyone else. But then again, it's like, well, why even pretend like lying is such a bad thing? We sit here and teach our children, oh, well, it's something you shouldn't do. But everybody does it, whether it's a small scale or a large scale. And a lot of people do it to get ahead, and the shit works. I don't know, for me it just always comes off as a baffling realization when you realize that the system that they want you to believe in isn't true. And I think what's worse is that a child's innocence is corrupted because you come out of, if you were raised by your parents properly, it's always the idea that do good things and good things will happen to you. Try to be a good person. That's the general idea. Lying is not necessarily correlated with it. But the problem is that lying in itself is a gray area. For example, you lie to cheat one person, but you benefit another. It's like you cheat a businessman, but you raise up a child, like the Robin Hood approach. Well, it's still lying. You've still done a bad thing, even if you've achieved a good thing out of it. And then it brings up the question, does the ends justify the means? And we don't really fucking know. I just always thought that out of all the things that you're taught as a child, lying is that one thing that I believe to be inherently wrong. It's one of those things that I think needs to be explained to a child early on. lying, and also I wish media would kind of approach it better, where they try to just outright say lying and thieving is wrong, even though a lot of people have gotten to where they were off of lying. But I think that hits that whole gray area. And then, to be fair, modern media for children has gotten a lot better with that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I think we're still under the impression that we need to dumb shit down and meander it down for the sake of children because they can't process it, which isn't true. When you look at the stuff you watched as kids, or the stuff that even people older than me watched when they were kids back in the 80s, and you're like, that was some rough shit. And that was the reality of what they had to deal with. This dark situation that wasn't meant to fuck them over. But it shows kids and whoever watches that material that life is not fair. Life is very unpredictable and has a tendency of going in different directions. And if you're not prepared for that change and shift, you might get caught in the crossfire. And I appreciate that, but I don't know, lying to me has always been one of those things that, like, it will always be a middle of the road kind of situation. So it's always funny when I see children's shows try to portray it as an inherently bad thing, because it can lead to good things. And then the question is, does the karma still catch up with you if you do it for the right reason? If it doesn't, then does that make it a bad thing? I guess the idea that, but I mean, it's kind of like saying, oh, is murder bad if you do it to defend someone else? I appreciate those middle of the road arguments, because then it feels like it's not talking down to you, and you're trying to make a point without trying to push an agenda that would harm other individuals. And I appreciate that kind of respect and dignity that those storytellers are willing to push to the children. But even in the youngest kid shows, I think lying is still considered like an inherently bad thing, and I think it needs to be portrayed more fairly to what it actually is. And now some people would say, because I think the one rule that never seems to get pushed in life enough is that life is not fair. Your standing when you were born kind of dictates where you'll end up in the future. It's not the only thing that'll dictate it, but it has a contributing factor. A child that grew up in high class has a better chance of living a lavish life than a guy who grew up in the fucking slums. And I think that needs to be portrayed more fairly. I've kind of gone into a rambling state with this, but I just kind of wanted to make a point that things aren't as they seem, and that it's not a bad thing to address someone or address a topic, like a gray area kind of topic such as lying, more fairly. But yeah, I think that's the general gist of what I have to say. But please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys later. Vlogs again from your boy Terrell. Peace. Oh.